I can't play it. The song that really changed me. My dad had a Kingston Trio album. I was like 7 years old, I think. And there was a song by Hoyt Axton called Greenback Dollar. And it's like, I think I just remember it. Some people say I'm a no-man. Others say I'm no good. I'm just a natural born traveling man, doing what I think I should. Oh yeah, doing what I think I should. And I don't, it was that build-up, and I noticed it when I was 7. I went, what is that? Like, for some reason I got it, and that's what made the song work. That without that build-up, it didn't work. It was just a, it wouldn't have been the same thing. And also I remember, I can play an old Cole Porter song. And I was probably about 10 or 11, I was playing the guitar. And I couldn't figure out the chord progression. It took me 20 years to figure out the chord progression because he uses a diminished chord, and diminished chords don't exist in most folk songs. But to me, this is a melody and lyric that is so well married that you can't tell what part of the song is moving you, the lyric or the melody. So, you give to me and I give to you. True love, and on it will always be true love for you, and I have a guardian angel on high with nothing to do but to give to you and to give to me. Love forever true. So that was what turned me on when I was a kid, was I would hear those songs and go, what is it about that give to me and I give? That sucked me right in. I was, as I say, I'm there. I'm in it. I'm buying. I'm not going to leave this song because of that one chord.
Oh, a lot of Dylan songs, of course. Blowing in the Wind, and well, there's a Dylan song that we do, Chimes of Freedom, which always really knocks me out because it starts off with a moment in just life, just like getting stuck in a thunderstorm, and he's looking out at the lightning and the thunder, and it's making his thought process go to all the wrongs in the world, and thinking that still, with everything that's wrong in the world, there's still, the lightning represents the chimes of freedom flashing. I think that's brilliant.
To me, when I was a little kid, I heard a song called Walk, Don't Run, and that's when I intuitively understood, without knowing anything about music theory at all, I was a little kid riding my bike, the difference between a major and a minor chord. And that was a huge thing, because the bridge goes major chord, and then the next chord is, to me that was just earth-shattering, to hear the difference between happy and sad. That's kind of everything in life. Right there, one chord change. It covers the whole gamut of emotion.
I always loved James Taylor, especially when he first came out in the 70s. And I guess I'm thinking if You've Got a Friend. I don't know if he did or Carole King, but like Carole King and James Taylor were really, I love them so much, especially in the 70s. And You've Got a Friend. And all those songs were just so great.
Probably You've Got a Friend. That was super important. I felt like when I was singing it, that was like really me singing, and how important friendship was. And I'm still friends with some of my friends from really long time ago. I just think friendship is the most important thing. So that was probably a pretty powerful song for me. Song for You. It's really like a rewrite of the same theme. I didn't even think about it until now, we're talking about it, but this song is for you, for all we've been through. I wrote a song for him, I didn't have to think it through. I just let the words come out till they were done. And I tried to change them some. I always change it some.
I didn't know anything about American folk music. I think my mom had one Melanie record. But I didn't know who Tom Paxton was. I didn't know anybody was, because I'd just never been exposed to it. And none of my friends, knew anything about folk music. We were all just farm kids. So when I first started listening to it, she gave me a record, Nancy Griffith's Other Voices, Other Rooms, which is a great album of other people's songs. And the very first song on the record was a Kate Wolfe song, Across the Great Divide, and that song just completely changed everything. Like, I heard that song made me want to be a writer. So it's an incredibly powerful song about, Kate Wolfe thinking about the end of her life as she got a fatal illness. I've been walking in my sleep, counting troubles instead of counting sheep. Where the years went, well, I can't say. I just turned around and gone away. And I've been sifting through the layers, dusty books, faded papers, tell a story I used to know. It was one that happened so long ago. It's gone away in yesterday. Now I find myself on the mountainside. It's where the rivers change direction across the great divide. Thank you. So that's a piece of that song. But that's just that whole album just changed my life.
I was always drawn to that Etta James tune, I'd Rather Go Blind. I felt like I could have written it, like I felt that closeness to it when I heard it and when I would sing it. So it's easy for me to channel all that and relate to that emotion and the way that she wrote it. It felt like a piece of me.
There was a piece performed by the Mahavishnu Orchestra called Smile of the Beyond, based on a Sufi poem. And that song, there's something to me I can't explain, but it brings out symphonies and all kinds of music.
For me, it's not a particular song, but when I hear Mahalia Jackson sing, and I don't have any kind of voice like Mahalia, I don't have any kind of direct musical connection to her catalog and her work, but she was a favorite and is a favorite artist of my father's. He's a big fan of gospel music as well, and there's just something about, she's a goosebump artist for me.
One of the songs that really stuck out for me, surprisingly enough, was California Dreaming by the Mums and the Papas, and I think the reason why was because of the harmonies and the counterpoint, and I don't think I'd really thought of harmony and counterpoint singing that much before I heard that, and that's such a great song with all the different parts coming in, and harmony singing's always been one of the really important things to me, which is why a lot of my music either has multiple layers of harmonies, or I do projects with people where there will be multiple voices singing.
There's a song on a Patty Griffin album called Making Pies that I first heard it. I bought the album, had it in the car, popped it in. It's the second song on the record, or the third song, and I'm just sort of sitting there, you know, hearing this new record by Patty Griffin, and I'm a fan, you know, and all of a sudden she goes through, you know, there's this old lady who works in a bakery, and she's Italian, and she's obviously an immigrant, and she sort of winds up the song by saying, you know, I could cry, or I could die, or I could just make pies all day. And then there's a break. Just for a second, there's a pause, and then she goes, I'm making pies. And I mean, even now, I can't even talk about it. I'll start crying. I mean, I just burst into tears. Like, it was like, it was just one of those moments. Sorry, I'm getting misty.
First off, just to give a little perspective, at the time that I'm growing up, I lived kind of out in the woods, miles from town. There is no internet, and there's actually not much TV reception, so it was very much entertain yourself. And so a lot of times you would be working on learning songs and just playing to your CD player, and that was your band. And so like Master of Puppets by Metallica had a lot of interesting sort of changes, with it being like really exciting in the beginning, and then they deliver a storyline, and then in the middle it would totally change to be something more classically oriented and slower, and then that would develop to build back up into something that was a little bit more moderate and grinding, and then it would race ahead with solos, and it just had a lot of components that was like, wow, that is really cool that it can all be, you know, together and part of that, and I can be experiencing that by jamming with my CD player.
I can say definitively, alive from Pearl Jam. I was driving driving down the road. I was like, I don't know, 16, just got my license, and I was driving to work, and I heard that tune. I was like, who is this band? This is the best band ever.
Probably say Good Times, Bad Times by Led Zeppelin. First time I heard that John Bonham bass drum foot, and it's just like, wow. I'm still trying to figure it out.
I don't think I had one. There's a certain flavor when I was younger. Caught my attention more than the song, I guess. It was plays like Flea when I was much younger. Get your attention when you're, 12 years old. It's kind of what you want to do. So more players in the song for me.
Chrissy Hines, Hymn to Her, was really powerful when I was in college, and then powerful again when I just saw her recently with Stevie Nicks in concert. So that was one of those pieces of music that is evergreen. Sort of spoke to me when I was younger and speaks to me now. So that's one of them. I do think music, though, it would be interesting, wouldn't it, if we could look over a soundtrack of our lives, because that is one of those pieces. Hymn to Her is one of those pieces that endured, but I will say at different periods of our time, there are songs that are more meaningful, less meaningful, okay to not be meaningful, that kind of thing.
Some people say I'm a no-good, others say I'm no good.
It's gone away yesterday. Now I find myself on the mountainside. It's where the river